5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. I'm in for Chelsea Messenger, and happy Thursday, November the 14th. Let me specifically say to all my Romanian friends, happy Dobruja Day. I hope you have an awesome, bloody Dobruja Day. Go out, get drunk, have a great time, tear up the town. But if you're here in the US, of course, it is the much anticipated National Pickle Day. So I know we're going to be having an absolute party after the show to celebrate National Pickle Day. Well, you can also do a lot of sports betting because we have a whole boatload of sports, obviously, ongoing with all the college seasons. And we got NFL and we got everything happening, NBA, NHL, you name it. We help you out here on picksandparlays.net. We give you lots of free picks to help you with your sports betting. And today is no different. We're going to kick it off with our college basketball rapid fire. With Craig El Guapo Trapp and Tony El Tigre Tellez. And then we'll go to some NFL, NBA, and college basketball with Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. And we'll follow it up with a little bit more rapid fire. We'll do the college football rapid fire once again with Craig and Tony. Those are the topics on the table today. That's what we're going to be covering. You may want to get a pen and paper ready because we're going to give out a lot of picks. We are streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitter. We're streaming on Facebook. If you want to participate in the show, we'd love to hear from you. All you have to do is comment on any one of our social media platforms, and our producer, Andrew, will see it and we'll put it up on the screen. And I will endeavor to read your comment and or question during the show, provided, of course, it's not too rude. We can tolerate some rude, but not too rude. That is just, quite frankly, rude. We're with you every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also on the American Forces Network. And by the way, we're streaming live as well on iHeartRadio and TuneIn. So we're everywhere that you want to be. Join the discussion with us, folks. Hashtag Parlay Radio. Lots of sports to talk about, lots of games for you. And there are truly some big ones, including the greatest college sports team of all time, UCLA. We're going to be talking about them. Up next, college basketball rapid fire. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back after this.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851. 1-800-439-7851.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip, or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber on this wonderful November the 14th, the day England play their 1,000th international game. It's quite a milestone, and as we speak, they're beating the mighty team of Montenegro, massive footballing nation, 6-0. Enough of that, though. I promised you that we would do some college basketball rapid fire, and being a man of my word, here we go. I'd like to welcome in, obviously, El Guapo, Craig Trapp, and Tony El Tigre Tellez for some college football rapid fire. Guys, a happy Dobroja Day to both of you.
Thank you.
And the same to you.
Well, thank you very much. Gentlemen, we're going to do some rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
Have you had your energy drinks?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, then we'll start with Tigre. Okay. Let's start. West Virginia at Pitt. West Virginia 1-0, 0-1 against the spread against Pitt. They are 2-1, 2-1 against the spread. Tigre, take it away.
All right, we're looking here at college basketball game here for Friday. We're going to go ahead and take the Pittsburgh Panthers -1.5. I respect that win they had at Florida State. Did have that hiccup at home to Nicholls State, but you know what? Jeff Capel improved this team from last year's 6-win improvement. It's West Virginia, one of the biggest disappointments last year. It was not a good season. Very young team, 7 freshmen and sophomores competing for playing time. Couldn't cover in their opener against Akron. I'm going to go ahead and take Pittsburgh at home -1.5.
Craig, what say you?
Well, I'm a huge Bob Huggins guy. Actually worked for Coach Huggins for 4 years. Put myself through college, working some camps for him. So I believe in Huggy Bear. I think Huggy Bear makes it 4 in a row. They've won 3 in a row against their rival, of course, in the backyard brawl. I think they go on the road to get this win here. Like Tony said, this is a very young team last year, just as young this year. But I think West Virginia continues the domination over their rival.
All right, before we get to that bit of trivia, I'm going to ask you, Craig, because you mentioned Huggy Bear. Name me the actor that played Huggy Bear in Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, before my time.
Tigre.
Oh, goodness. He's a father of a famous celebrity out there.
No, it's not. It's Antonio Fargas. You both fail. All right, next. Monmouth at Kansas. Monmouth 1-2. 1-2 against the spread. Kansas 1-1, 0-2 against the spread. Let's see. We started with Tony. Let's go to Craig. Guapo, take it away.
Well, I think this line's right where it should be, but just Kansas team, of course. A lot of people stayed away because everybody knew this team was in trouble as far as allegations. Those sanctions are being fought, I guess, by Coach Bill Self and Kansas. But I think Monmouth has just enough to get this done. I think they lose into that 23-point range. So let's take the 25.5 in Monmouth.
25.5 it is. What say you, LT Gray? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm going to butt heads a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and lay it here with Kansas. Monmouth, the MAC NAAC team. 14-21 last year, but they have road losses by 20 at Hofstra, 19 in Kansas State, and the defensive form not very good on the road, allowing 39% from 3. And Kansas making the 3 so far this year. They got as a bookie back, so rim defender. I think the defense gets it done here. I'll take Kansas laying the points.
All right, next up we got BYU at Houston. BYU 2-1, 1-2 against the spread against Houston. They're 1-0, 1-0 against the spread. The line is Houston -10, total 144. Sound about right to you, Tony?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lay the points here with Houston. BYU is going to be without their best player, Yeli Childs. He sits a 9-game suspension to start the season. Of course, Calvin Sampson is filling some of those starters with bench players, and he has built a really good defensive culture over at Houston. Hey, they were a money maker for a lot of people last year. I'm going to go ahead and take Houston laying the 10 here against a BYU team that really is not very good on defense.
Craig.
I agree with Tony here. I think Houston is the way better team. Sampson has really built this team into not just a one-year wonder. He's done it now for, 2 or 3 seasons. I think it continues this year. They're a little younger at some key spots, but I still think Houston is just way more talented, way more athletic than a BYU team that can't keep up in this one. So let's lay the -10 here.
You're going to go the -10 with Houston. All right, that's fair enough. That is the line. Minnesota at Utah is next. Minnesota are 1-2. They're 1-1-1 against the spread. Utah 2-0, 2-0 against the spread. I have, let's see, Utah -3 and the total at 145.5. El Guapo.
Yeah, I think this one you have to look at the total. I think this is right where it should be. I think Minnesota is a solid team. Of course, Pitino learned from his dad that you got to win with defense, and I like this Minnesota team a little bit. But on the road at Utah, a very tough place to play always. So I'm going to play the under here. I just think that it'll be a little lower scoring game. I think moving that 3-point line back is gonna be a lot of unders early in the season as teams get used to not shooting as many threes or just being used to shooting a lot lower percentage. So let's take the under 145.5 Minnesota at Utah.
Under 145, you're saying the 16.5 inches makes a big difference in the points. Actually, we're going to come back to that. Tigre.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the home favorite here, Utah Utes -3. As Craig said, Huntsman Center, very tough place to play. And, the Golden Gophers shooting poorly to start the season, just 42%, 31% from 3. And they're not making their free throws at 62%. There's only one senior on this roster, and you want some senior leadership when you're going into a tough place like the Huntsman Center. Kristoviak did get a win at Nevada to start the season, and they pounded Mississippi Valley State, a win here by 94 points at home. I know Mississippi Valley State not very good, but, man, I like the numbers they did at Nevada.
You think?
49% shooting. Oh, yeah, they pulled down 26 more boards than the Wolfpack. Gave me the Utah Utes -3.
All right. This is a very tough game for me because I live in Las Vegas. I have a son that graduated from UNLV. I graduated from UCLA. So this, for me, is a very difficult game, this next one. We have UNLV at UCLA. Now, we all know UCLA are the gold standard of college sports programs in general, period. So it's going to be very, very hard. And UCLA are -8 with the total points of 136. Got to love UCLA for just about everything. For me, UNLV 1-2, 1-2 against the spread. UCLA, of course, they're perfect, right? 2-0. You can't do better than that. And they're 1-1 against the spread. Let's start with El Tigre. Tell me just how wonderful this UCLA team really is.
Yeah, if this were 1973, I tell you, they're a great program, great team, and John Wooden's a great coach. But
I'm sorry, Nick, we're having some sort of connection problem, Tigre. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to take UNLV +7. Of course, former Cincinnati Bearcats head coach Nick Cronin takes over for the Bruins. This is a team that was a disappointment last year with 17 wins. They couldn't cover against Long Beach State. They failed to cover that one.
They didn't want to.
But here's what
they didn't want to. It was a part of the master plan, Tony.
Oh, I guess. But, you face two Big West teams at home and shoot only 41% and give up 46% and 39% from 3. I cannot support the Bruins here. I'm going to take UNLV +7. Look like an improved team. Former South Dakota State coach takes over, TJ Olsenberger. I'm going to take the Rebels plus the points.
Now, that line has shifted because I think it opened at, it would have opened at +8 for them. Craig, what say you?
Yeah, I see this line, both 7 and 8 at some spots, so shop it around. I also think I'm going to take UNLV with the 7 points. Believe me, no one hates Mick Cronin more than me. I was so glad he left my program alone and left Cincinnati. He cannot coach offense. Well, guess what you're going to have to win with at UCLA? You're going to have to win with offense. That's a conference in the Pac-12 that you have to score. A fan base that likes to score and likes to do things in impressive fashion. Not going to be a good fit. I can't see Cronin lasting more than 2 or 3 years. Might be a precursor after he loses outright here. I think they lose outright, but let's take the 7 points as UNLV pulls an upset over Mick Cronin.
How dare you, Trapp? How dare you? Very quickly, guys, we literally have a minute. I want 15 seconds from each of you. How is the movement of the three-point line going to affect the score? Is it really going to have that big of an effect on the under? Craig?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You know, more threes are shot now than ever before. Each year it goes up. You know, kids grow up doing that. The Steph Curry effect, we can say, in the NBA, the Houston Rockets. I think it's going to have a big effect. I think it's going to be a lot of unders, and you're going to see these totals start to shift down as the season moves on.
Tony?
Yes, on the experienced teams, you will see it. Freshmen coming in, they don't even know what the college line is. So I think you have to look here at the teams with experience and rely heavily on threes, teams like Creighton.
Fascinating stuff. Want to look out for that. All right, guys, thank you so much. Once again, you can find lots of free picks on our website, picksandparlays.net. If you missed any part of this rapid fire, go to our social media, go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can find this show there for you. Well, we're going to take a break. I hope you're hungry, because when we come back, I'm bringing you chicken dinner, Chirimbes. Let's do some NBA, NFL, and college basketball. We'll be right back.
Do you use the blue pill to charge your sex life? Have you been thinking about trying the blue pill? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pill delivers the exact same results for less than $3. We'll do the math for you. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. Want more? We'll give you 40 blue pills or 40 yellow pills for $99 and add 4 more pills free. You save more than $500. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about elite rehab placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
We paid less for our Craftmatic today than we did 20 years ago.
If you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and free information on today's Craftmatic adjustable beds. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Rated #1 by consumers nationwide on consumeraffairs.com. Craftmatic beds come in all mattress types, including cool gel memory foam for up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand. Enjoy temporary relief of low back pain, poor circulation, nighttime heartburn, mild arthritis. You'll sleep better in a Craftmatic adjustable bed. So if you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and information. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Discover Craftmatic for less, up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand.
Call 1-800-371-9608. That's 1-800-371-9608. Call 1-800-371-9608. Call now.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, and this is, of course, Picks and Parlays. Well, I promised you, if you were hungry, we were going to give you some winners to digest, and who best to have on here than Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. By the way, we have a lot of handicappers on picksandparlays.net. Chip is top of the leaderboard almost every week. Chip, 3 straight NBA best bets.
Right.
You gave out your first college best bet of the year yesterday on the show. That was a big winner.
Right.
And Thursday night NFL. This is insane. Tonight, of course, it's Browns Steelers. But you're 7-2. You're 78% all season for Thursday night NFL. Well done.
Yes, thank you, Nick. I've been able to single out those games because that's where all the action is pointed toward. So I seem to get a better read on those games. 3 straight NBA winners last night. Orlando upsets Philadelphia, and I gave you my first college best bet of the year. Ohio State beats Villanova by 25 points, 76-51. So we're ready to go, Nick. We've got all sports going in every category, and this is why you get involved in the monthly package at picksandparlays.net, as opposed to having a hunt and peck and handicap the handicappers.
Right.
You get it all.
Well, let's talk about some NFL. Let's talk about Rams, Bears at Rams. This should be a loser leave town game, Chip, because Rams, well, I don't know. Jared Goff sucks. Todd Gurley can't run. Brandon Cooks likely out with a concussion. Rams couldn't score more than 12 points against the Steelers defense in Week 10. They've dropped 2 of their last 3 at home. Well, how do you see this one? I think the line opened at 7.5. It moved to Rams -7.
Well,
what do you see?
I think that both these teams struggle offensively. When the Rams have decided not to use Todd Gurley and their rushing game has gone down and left the pressure on to Goff, it really has hurt their offense. They're 6-3 against the number this year, but the Bears have even more problems on offense, Nick. They're averaging less than 80 yards per game on the ground. Last year they had Howard. He's gone. They got rid of him, and they're leaving it all up to Trubisky. He's only got 8 touchdown passes in 9 games for the year with 3 interceptions. But the running game is virtually non-existent. This is a team that averaged 5.3 yards on the ground last year. The Chicago Bears we're talking about. And right now, they're at like 3.6 yards per attempt. Losing Howard and losing the ground games on both these teams have affected their offenses passing as well. And I think these 2 games are destined to go under. 7 of the last 9 meetings between the Bears and the Rams have gone under, Nick. 4 and 1 in LA have gone under. And the offense for the Bears is only averaging 262 yards a game. This is absolutely atrocious in the NFL. They've been outgained 7 of their 9 games, even though they do have 4 wins. They're doing it with defense at times. But, Nick, even the Bears' defense this year has dropped a notch or 2. They're just not quite the same. But, you know, the Rams aren't a team that you can lay points with. And particularly the way they're playing now.
What is it, 40.5 still?
It's 40.5, and I think this game is supposed to stay under the total. Maybe we'll have a side by Sunday night, and you could always log on to picksandparlays.net and get it then. But right now, I'd say the way to go definitively is the under.
Well, interestingly enough, if the total stays at 40.5, right, then it's going to be the lowest closing total for a Rams home game in the Sean McVay era.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the Bears' offense and their defense. You know, but they really have put all their marbles into their defense, and it's just not working out because you have to score at some time, particularly in today's game. The NFL game today, Nick, which is a high pass, you know, they pass more frequently, they run more plays, they have speed-up offenses, and yet the Bears can't catch on to that. So this game, I think, is going to stay under. All
right, well, let's turn our attention to some NBA because we're going to be a little bit all over the place today. We're talking about the Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Utah 8-3, 4-7 against the spread. Memphis are 4-7, 4-7 against the spread. Let's see, what do we have? Total points 215, and it's currently Utah -7.
Well, it should be because this Memphis team has been in the doldrums for years. They've come in with top players and just still never been able to break out into the win column, at least as one of the more acceptable playoff challengers. Utah again at 8-3, only 4-7 against the number. It's because they're 2-3 on the road. And, you know, Memphis used to have Mike Conley. Mike Conley holds the franchise records for games played, for points scored, for assists. And after 12 or 13 years with Memphis, he had enough, and he's gone to Utah, and he's really helped this Jazz club out so far. I mean, he will throughout the entire season because they're going to have a little bit more balance and a little bit more depth. These 2 teams, you know, it's hard to gauge a day ahead of time in NBA because so much can happen. I think the line opened here. What did we have? Utah at 7.5, did you have?
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line there. And within 24 hours, a lot can change. There may be a lot of players, either the public or the wise guys get down on either side. But I can tell you this about this Memphis team. They don't have the firepower that you need to outscore a lot of these teams in the NBA, particularly with 3-point shooting being so prevalent. The under in Memphis's last 37 games has won 28 times at home. They're 28-9 to the under at home. Utah is 5-1-1 in their 7 road games this year playing under. Although they've won 4 straight, this is another game where I don't see a lot of scoring happening. I see Utah on the road slowing it down, playing at a different pace, and the Grizzlies just don't have that offensive firepower. Maybe at home they'll suck it up defensively, Nick, and they'll be able to play tough. But I really can't take the Grizzlies here. Not what I've seen so far this year. And Utah on the road at 2-3 has nothing exceptional. So I'll play this total to go under.
And speaking of under, I mean, it's been 11. The under's gone 11 of the last 14 for the Jazz. And a win here, by the way, would be 5 in a row for them.
Yes, they have won 4 straight. And you know, these teams, they get in a groove and they get into these sequences, especially like with wins or totals like you just mentioned. 11 out of 12, that's outrageous. I can't buck those kind of numbers.
11 of 14.
11 of 14? I can't buck those numbers anyway, Nick. I mean, 11 and 3, that's pretty big percentage.
Yeah, so we're going to take the under on this
one. Yeah, we will.
All right. Let's turn our attention, shall we? The Georgia versus Texas A&M.
It's Gonzaga.
Pardon me, Gonzaga. You know, I keep doing that.
Because you have a fixation with UCLA. You refuse to acknowledge that there's a team in the West that is better than UCLA, and it is Gonzaga.
Be quiet, Chirimbes.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry. Yes, of course. It's Gonzaga versus Texas A&M. Gonzaga 3-0, 2-1 against the spread. Texas A&M 2-0, 0-2 against the spread. We got 144.5 points here. Currently, it's Gonzaga minus 6.5, and I think that has shifted a little bit.
Well, it may. The game's not till tomorrow night, and we'll see what happens. This is the first road game of the season for Gonzaga, and being 6.5, that may be a bit of an anomaly for them as a favorite. Listen to this. In 3 games against powder puff opposition, they were favored by 30, 36, and 36.5. This is their first real competition of the year, and Mark Few, who's the coach of Gonzaga, brought them to the Elite 8 last year. He's done a great job. They lost 4 starters and a total of 5 graduates. 67 total points of offense is gone from this Gonzaga team, Nick, and yet still they're favorite at A&M. And the reason why is A&M has been so disappointing. They only won 14 of 32 games last year, did not make any kind of postseason play. And nowadays, Nick, if you don't make either the NIT or the CSI or the NCAA, you are in the doldrums.
Or the LGBTQ, whatever
they have. And they, you know, they were 330th in 3-point shots among 350 universities last year. I would say clubs, but I got criticized for that. It's a cultural thing.
Thank you for correcting yourself there, Chip.
But this isn't a baseball club. Regardless, Gonzaga comes in there with so much firepower gone. And the only returner they have is Corey Crisper, and he stood alone. He stood alone. He lost all his teammates. I don't see a big offensive output here, particularly on the road. I might want to take the points with Texas A&M at home, Nick, but they have shown so little. They played Alabama State. They played Louisiana Monroe. And I just don't know if they measure up. It's early in the year, and we're going to go leash with this one. I would actually pass on this game. Here, if you're looking for a selection for me, I would lay the Gonzaga or I would play the under. I don't think it's an outstanding play right now, but tomorrow night on Picks and Parlays, it may be up there as a big-time winner.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be certainly a lot more difficult for Gonzaga than it was against North Dakota. They're not going to win by 30 points, but they should win.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Being favored by 30, and 36, now they're coming into some real competition, and I say real competition against a team that was 14 and 18 last year. But they are playing a big-time school, and Texas A&M has been known at times. I mean, they've had some draft choices come out of the Aggie land, and I can see them possibly keeping it close.
All right. Well, Chipper, tell us about what's up on the site at Picks and Parlays right now.
Right now, we have the North Carolina Pitt game, which is sitting there for a bet. And we have a best bet on the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as a top play in college basketball between Michigan State and Seton Hall. And we have our NBA best bet winner, which is out there right now with a 3-pack, a triple play of NBA winners.
Now, this Browns-Steelers game, this Thursday night game tonight, of course, you know, as I mentioned before, you're really killing it on the Thursday night game. So if someone wants to go out there and make that bet, head over to picksandparlays.net because you're going to find lots of Chip's expert picks and free picks as well.
Yes, we post a free pick every day in one sport or another. And today my free pick was in basketball and NBA basketball.
And what was it? We may as well give it out.
I can give it out if I can remember it. But if you go to the website, you can find out the analysis.
Have some ginkgo biloba and give it another try.
It's been a long time now, And this aging effort, I don't even know what season it is, much less
we're
what month it is.
looking. We're looking for the pick for Thursday, November the 14th, 2019, not 1819.
My free pick was Denver over the New Jersey or the Brooklyn Nets. They've made a move as well. And the line was way too high in my mind at being 8.5, 9, and I thought it was easy to take the Nets here. The Nets have struggled on the road. They came back from a 15-point they blew a 15-point lead against Utah last night, but still were able to cover the spread. I think they may be the side with Irving here, but no. It is going to be the Denver Nuggets and a romp tonight. That's my free play.
That's what you're going to be doing after the game is...
Romping?
Yes.
Well, I always look to romp. We're in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
we've got to take advantage of this.
Right.
Why not?
All right, well, come to Vegas, hang out with Chipper. That's what I recommend highly. All right, we are going to be back after the break with college football rapid fire. We'll welcome back Craig El Guapo Trapp and, of course, Tony El Tigre Tellez. In the meantime, head over to the website, picksandparlays.net. You'll find Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes right there. He's going to give you some delicious dinner of winning. All right, we'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.
This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
Men, if you want to pee easier, listen to this. A new Nobel Prize discovery was just proven in a clinical trial to help men pee 241% more, ending multiple trips to the bathroom and a constant urge to go. This breakthrough is finally available in a pill called Prostavive LS, developed by famed men's health expert Dr. Al Sears. And for a limited time, you can get a free bottle. Call 800-769-8155. Patients who've taken Prostavive LS are singing its praises.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm 73 years old. I used to get up multiple times a night to go to the bathroom, but after taking Prostavive LS, I now sleep through the night.
Prostavive LS does not require a prescription, and there are no side effects. But this free bottle is not available in stores. Call 800-769-8155 to get your free bottle of this Nobel Prize-winning discovery proven in clinical trials to help men pee 241% more. That's 800-769-8155.
Why wait for Black Friday? Get Black Friday prices today at the Home Depot. Up to 40% off appliance special buys, plus up to $600 in extra savings instantly on select appliances. No rebate, no hassle. Like a Whirlpool white top mount refrigerator for just $548, over $180 off. Talk about holiday cheer. Black Friday savings early, now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details. Valid through December 5th.
And you're back with us here on Picks and Parlays on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Just a reminder, we're with you every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, on American Forces, and of course, streaming live video for you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. I'm in for Chelsea Messenger. As promised, though, we are going to do some college football rapid fire. So why don't we just get right to it, because we got an awful lot of games to cover, not that much time. So I'm going to welcome back to the show our resident expert handicappers, Craig El Guapo Trapp and Tony El Tigre Tellez. Gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you had a good break, took your energy drinks, went to the bathroom. All is good. We're ready to go. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay.
We are. I got my alkaline water right here. I'm ready.
Alkaline water, yes. All right. That's not. I've got my vodka reinforced Pellegrino right here. So let's get right to it, shall we? Let's start with the Crimson Tide against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Tide, 8-1. 8-1. Shall I say 8-1? Okay. And the Bulldogs, 4-5. They're 3-6 against the spread. We've got a total consensus here, 60.5 points, gentlemen. Tide 17.5 point favorites. Let's start with the guy drinking the alkaline water. Okay, Tigre, you're up.
Yes, Nick. We saw this line open at 21. It's come down to 17.5. I got to take Alabama here at minus 17.5. Familiar spot here for the Crimson Tide, suffering an in-season loss. So now style points matter. So they can still work their way into the playoff. Remember, there's no home field advantage in the playoffs. Just get in and you're okay. I think Alabama's in that spot here where they can really run up some points against Mississippi State. This is a down program that replaced a lot from last year, especially on the defensive side of the football. They've had some losses here by 19 at Texas A&M, 23 at LSU, 33 at Auburn. Their freshman quarterback has not been accurate. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points here with the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, interestingly enough, though, I'm looking at the Alabama injury list, and it's pretty bad. I mean, they've got McMillan out for the season, Moses out for the season. Tua is a question mark and doubtful for this game. Let's see, Labry and Ray is out indefinitely. Ekiyor Jr. is out indefinitely. Reichard is downgraded as probably not going to play. And Trey Sanders, wow. I mean, and as I said, their kicker's not going to play. So that's a lot of injuries.
It's a lot of injuries, but it's Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. But it's Alabama. What do you mean? Yeah. Alabama doesn't have more than 7 people in the entire state. That's 7 people right there. I mean, come on. All right, I'm joking. Yeah, right. All right, Trapp, take it away.
I like the over here. Same reason that kind of Tony likes Alabama. I think Alabama needs to win and win impressively with those style points. Obviously, they're right now 5th in the playoff standings, and I think there's some teams in front of them that I think will lose, so I think they're going to have their opportunity to get in. I think Alabama, I think Tua might play here, but even if he doesn't, I think this one's a lot of points. This Alabama defense was not good last week. I think they'll struggle a little bit, just give up enough to get this over. So let's take the over 60.5, or even see it at 61 in some spots.
So it says Tua's questionable for his ankle, or is it maybe his confidence? All right, let's move along, shall we? Next game, let's do this. Georgia Bulldogs against the Auburn Tigers. Let's do this. Georgia 8-1, 5-4 against the spread. Auburn are 7-2, 7-2 against the spread. 40.5 points. Not exactly a scoring festival. Georgia are the favorites, so minus 2.5. We started with Tony. Let's go with Craig.
Listen to my SEC game of the week, coming off a big SEC game of the week last week. I had LSU. I thought they would win outright. I took the points. They still obviously won outright. I'm going to follow it up with another one this week. I think this one's a really good matchup. Going to be fun to watch. Georgia at Auburn. Georgia has a lot to play for. Of course, they win out. They're going to be in the SEC championship.
Tellez.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the points here with Auburn. They're coming off the bye week here at +3. No, Bo Nix, he's a bit more accurate at home than he is on the road, and he's backed by a run attack, 219 yards, and averages 5 yards a carry. And their defensive numbers have been really good, even better at home, allowing just over 51% completion rate. Opponents scoring just 16 points in Auburn's home stadium. But, the Bulldogs, their offense has been held at 22 points per game in their past 4 against the conference. Jake Fromm faced Missouri last week, completed only 44% of his passes. And this will be their first true road game since early October. The competition has not been tough for Georgia on the road, beating Tennessee, Vanderbilt. So I'm going to go ahead and take the points here, Auburn +3.
Auburn +3. This a win here for Georgia would make it 4 in a row. So that's just another little stat for you. Let's move along, shall we? Next up, let's do your absolute favorite, Tigre. Let's talk about your beloved Golden Gophers, shall we? I mean, you love this program. They're 9-0, 6-2-1 against the spread, and they are going to be visiting the Iowa Hawkeyes, 6-3. They are 4-5 against the spread. The favorites, though, are Iowa -3. I got 44.5 points. Let's see. Guapo.
Yeah, I think this one, Iowa's defense is really good. I mean, they've stopped everybody. Their offense, not so good. You know what that spells? Under. 44.5. They're begging you to take the over here as when they list these totals low in the 40s. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm going to take the under 44.5 as I think this is going to be all about that Iowa defense and Iowa offense struggling. So let's take the under.
Well, the under, it has gone under in 4 of the last 5 games for Iowa, so that would seem to be consistent with that recommendation. Tigray.
And bettors, we love them and we leave them. We're going to leave Minnesota here. We're going to take Iowa here at -3. I'm divorcing the Golden Gophers for just this week. Iowa's covered their past 2 games coming off a 2-point loss at Wisconsin. But again, they've had a tough schedule. Look, they face Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa State on the road, and then Penn State at home. Against that schedule, the Hawkeyes holding opponents at 289 yards. So it's the defenses we really like here with Iowa. And let's face it, this is Golden Gophers' first big test on the road. They've had wins at Rutgers, Purdue, who lost their starting quarterback in that game, and they were life and death to beat Fresno State early in the week, and they're not running the ball very effectively on the road here. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the points with Iowa.
Let's face it, they were playing like Purdue do. Okay, let's go next. Let's see, Oklahoma. Listen, this is a great game. Oklahoma, Baylor, because both of these teams have fantastic records. The Sooners 8-1, 4-5 against the spread. The Baylor Bears are currently unbeaten at 9-0. They are 5-4 against the spread. The big favorites here are Oklahoma at -10.5. However, the point's 67.5. This should be a really fun game to watch if you're not betting it. But if we're going to bet it, how should we do it? Tony.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I like this game a lot, Nick, and pick it up right now at picksandparlays.net.
Ooh, little teaser there. Well done, sir. Well done, I say. Trapp. It's not a teaser for you, though. Let's have it.
Oklahoma's defense, they can't stop anybody. So give me Baylor as a home underdog, double-digit home underdog. You don't get that much with a team that's undefeated. Give me Baylor +10. I think this is going to be a really high-scoring matchup. Yeah. I think Baylor does just enough to maybe even pull an upset, but at the worst, they get the cover here.
Yeah, well, I'm looking here. So, yep, I think over is good. That's what's being recommended. So you're taking the over. The points were 67.5. Has that shifted, or is that still where it's at?
That's where it's at, but I actually like Baylor +10.
You like Baylor +10, yeah.
High score, I think Baylor +10 is the better play.
Okay, and that has shifted because I have +11. So, okay, we'll go for it. All right, let's up. Next, UCLA. I've been waiting for this one, guys. This is, in fact, we should just devote the rest of the show to the discussion about the UCLA Bruins program. The brilliant Bruins of UCLA are 4-5. And that's all part of their master plan, by the way. They are 4-1 against the spread. They're going to be playing the Utah Utes, 8-1, 6-3 against the spread. Utah is not going to know what hit them. Trust me on this one. 52 points. I think that's super low because I can see UCLA scoring that just in the first 5 minutes of this game. Let's see, UCLA, this is a great value. UCLA are the underdogs. I don't know what's wrong with these bookmakers. +21.5. Let's start with you, because the last one, Tony kind of let us down here. It's his pick of the day. You got to go to Picks and Parlays for it. So let's go with you, Trapp.
I like you. Maybe you talked me into this UCLA Bruins team. I like UCLA getting 21.5 here. They've been much better as of late. Chip Kelly's offense maybe took a little time to get going last year and this year. It's looked good so far. I love Utah. I still think Utah's going to have a chance to win out here, but 21.5 points seems like a little too many for me, so let's take UCLA.
Good choice. Well done. All right, Trapp. Pardon me. Yes, Tellez. We did Trapp. Tellez, you're up next. Tigray, what do you say?
Yeah, good news, bad news. I like UCLA +21. But I don't like them on the money line. Utah is going to win this game, but just not by 21. So I'll hand UCLA the soccer trophy of covering the spread in this one. Bruins come off the bye week after the 3-game win streak. They have covered 5 of 6. The offense has picked up the past 2 games. The quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson's completing 70% of his passes, 4 touchdowns and a pick, and he's doing well against the Pac-12. But Utah, they were held to 21 points against Arizona State recently, and I believe the Bruins generated enough points to cover this game. So I'll take UCLA plus 21.
Well, I tell you, I love the money line on this one, guys, because I'm taking every penny that I get for doing this show from Picks and Parlays, and I'm putting it on that plus 1,100 money line for UCLA. And when they win, I will walk away with a massive, massive windfall of $1.50. Okay, let's go next, shall we? The worst team in college sports anywhere in the world, the USC Trojans, are playing the California Golden Bears, Cal. So it's USC, Cal. Who likes USC? Nobody, let's be honest. All right, USC, 6. Lori Loughlin liked USC, apparently. It's a little too much. She might be doing some quality time for that. All right, USC Trojans, they are 6-4, 5-5 against the spread. Cal, 5-4. They are 4-5 against the spread. Total points of 48. For some reason, USC are the favorites here. Totally wrong. They are -6.5. What say you? Okay, Tellez, this isn't another one of your specials on the site, is it?
No, it's not. USC Rich program, well, maybe if we're talking about spelling bees, maybe, but here, not in football. But here we're going to go ahead and take Cal, though, plus 6.5. Cal's showing improvement. I saw that game against Washington State. Hey, they look like an offense in that 33-20 win against the Cougars. Devin Monster, a pretty good game. He was healthy, 16 of 24. They've played well defensively. And you look at some of the Golden Bears' results here. They're holding teams to 19 points at home. On the road, they've held Oregon to 17, Washington 19. Of course, USC couldn't get enough separation against ASU. They've covered just once in 5 road games. I'm taking Cal plus the 6.5.
USC, though, have an injury roster that, reads like an old ancient scroll that just never ends. I mean, how do you think these injuries are going to affect them? Could that really affect it, or is that priced in already? Craig.
A lot of it is priced in, but of course they have depth at USC. Of course, that scholarship issue they've had now, there's been some time since Kiffin's team. So I do believe, yes, injuries do affect them a lot on the defensive side of the football. But still, I do like this Cal team, and I think they'll be able to cover this one against the Trojans.
All right, next game. We're running out of time here, so we'll get to it quickly. All right, number 1 team in the nation, the LSU Tigers, 9-0, 6-2-1 against the spread, are going to be playing the Ole Miss Rebels at 4-6, 6-4 against the spread. Consensus points 65 on this one, guys. And of course, LSU are the big favorites, but it's -21.5. What are we taking on this one, Craig?
Well, I'll just give my last one. I like Cal in that one as well. But I also like the underdog in this one. I think Ole Miss getting LSU in a letdown spot after the big road win. I think they'll score a lot of points. I just think 21 is just a tad too many. Let's remember, this LSU team gave up, 30-some points to a terrible Vandy team early in the year. So this defense has given up points. I like Ole Miss plus 21 in a letdown spot for LSU.
All right, Tigray.
Yeah, exactly what Craig says. I like the points here with Ole Miss. Rich Rod, they like to run that. They like to run the football drain clock. It's going to be one of those games where they snap the ball with 5 seconds left on the clock and slow it down. Keep LSU off the field. Go ahead and take the underdog Ole Miss in this one.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That's our college football rapid fire. If you missed any of it, you can find it on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter. Go to picksandparlays.net. We'll be right back after this.
Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. That's 800-430-9571.
Well, welcome back to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. We've had a very big show today. Of course, we always have a big show. Hope you're enjoying it. And of course, you can always find us on our social media, hashtag Parlay Radio. And if you really have had enough of me, you can, I suppose, hashtag get that fat English guy off the screen. All right, but in the meantime, if you missed any of our picks, I'm going to recap them for you right now. We started off with a college basketball rapid fire. If you want to get those picks, go back and watch it on YouTube or listen to the podcast at the Believe Podcast Network, because we don't have them for you, basically. I'm not going to try and blow smoke up your you-know-what. But in the meantime, right after that, we did have Chip Chirimbes serving up some piping hot wins for you. Here's what we had. The NFL pick was Bears at Rams. He said take the under 40.5. And we had an NBA pick from Chip as well. Jazz at Grizzlies, take the under. And then we asked him for a college basketball pick, and we had Gonzaga at Texas A&M, take the under 144.5. Then, of course, we capped it all off with our patented rapid fire. We had Tony El Tigre Tellez and Craig El Guapo Trapp. Tony's college football rapid fire picks were on Alabama at Mississippi State, take Alabama, minus 17.5. USC at California, take Cal, plus 6.5. And then Craig, he had Oklahoma at Baylor, take Baylor, plus 10. LSU at Ole Miss, take Ole Miss, plus 21. And UCLA at Utah, take UCLA, plus 21.5. Always, always take UCLA. Remember that. All right, tomorrow, big show. We'll welcome back Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. We're going to have Tony El Tigre Tellez. We're going to have El Guapo on. And we're going to bring back Joe, say it ain't so, Joe D'Amico is going to be joining us here for some NFL Rapid Fire. So a big show for you tomorrow. Be sure to tune in, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network or streaming live at YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Go to our website, picksandparlays.net. Find out where everything is. Find all those lovely free picks. And if you want to kick it up a notch, our expert picks are there for you. Very quickly, 4:49 is our college basketball special. Goes on till the end of the season. Take advantage of it now. In the meantime, have a great night. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Remember, bet, win, repeat.